God damn! So good every time.
And then, just let us know when we're live. Oh, there we go.
All right. Welcome back to Softcore History. My name is Jake Goldman, and I am joined as always by our co-host, co-producer, whatever.
He's the only producer.
I'm not producing right now.
He's not producing, though, right now.
Boy, Coop.
Yeah, we have Cooper over here. And then, who else is over there? I just met you. Bill. That's right. Yeah, so thanks, guys, for helping out today. I am also joined, as always, by to my right, I guess screen left would be Rob Fox.
Right. To your right.
Is it screen right, too?
It's stage left.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stage left. Okay.
Whatever.
I don't know. You're the director here.
Yeah.
Theater major.
Tell me where you are.
I am
you were a
here.
major.
I'm what?
You were just a...
I was in a theater major in college? No, fuck that.
But, like,
That would be great. Rob was a theater major.
I would have made college even more fun than it already was. Can you imagine how easy fucking college would be if you were a fucking theater major?
Yeah.
How much what?
How much poon you were slaying?
How many poon?
Man poon.
Yeah.
The kids in fucking high school that were in the theater pulled the most ass.
It was
actually
dudes, though.
kid I went to high school with who became a massive porn star.
Was he in theater?
He was a theater
Your porn
kid.
star buddy?
Yeah, he was a theater
course he
kid.
was.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good for him. Didn't he do like a whole thing for when we were writing for TFM and stuff? Didn't he
did.
He did an expose on like
yeah.
how he had to like be constantly like switch hitting between like Coke and Viagra and stuff like that.
Yes. And also in 10th grade, he did a short film about Detective Ed Opis.
Oedipus?
Yeah, it was a
Oh my God.
noir.
Ha.
That's
Oh.
you know what's funny is like even though he did that in 10th grade, that's something that I can imagine someone, if Rob did college theater, making. Like that's their clever character. It's
Ed
like
Opus.
Ed Opus. Yeah.
Why would it be Ed Opus and not Ed Opus? Like
Opus?
OPUS, like Opus Day.
Or
like-
Opus.
yeah. Ed Opus.
I'll have to ask him.
Yeah.
When we run into each other
Cool.
on set.
Have you run into him since he was in porn?
No.
Okay.
He's just in every porn I watch.
Yeah.
Are you in any group
so
chats
you've just
with him?
seen his penis.
Exclusively, I'm like Logan
Can you?
Pierce.
Does it make you like avoidant of porn sometimes, knowing that you're going to see your friend's hog?
No, you push through.
You just pat through it.
He's not a friend. He's like an acquaintance.
Okay, so
like
you're not on like group text with this guy.
No, like we know each other, and like the only time I really texted him was to get him to write for TFM at one point. But
Wait,
So-
I never read that article about him having to do just Coke and Viagra all the time.
Yeah, just to keep it up.
yeah,
But wait,
never had to
Coke
do.
doesn't keep it up.
Never had
No,
to do
it's
gay
like
his
porn.
energy up.
Yeah.
According to him, he never did gay porn.
Yeah, he
well.
kind of found like the secret backdoor entrance into straight porn.
But I mean, he's
Ironically.
pretty. Yeah, he's pretty much.
Phrasing.
He's hit all the big names out there. So.
Did he like fuck Carter Cruz?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
He's in a lot of porn. Like
He's
this
in-
guy's in a ton of
Well,
porn.
there's only like 10 male porn stars in general.
Yeah.
So it's like
you really don't need more than that.
I mean, honestly, it's a job where you only need the lower half most of the time of
Yeah.
the dude. Like,
Yeah.
no one needs to know what the dude's face looks like.
I like the porn where it's like clearly a sleazebag porn star who's just like a piece of shit and looks like he would like rob you and then get on his motorcycle, but he's dressed up as like a doctor and
Rob,
nerd or
this is
something.
extremely niche. This is very specific.
No, and it's just like a
is
dirt-
that how long this search? Okay, anyway, this is softcore history. We now know Rob's porn preference. Today we are going to be talking about a very special sports moment. I personally am not a baseball fan necessarily. I like certain baseball games. I'll watch playoffs and stuff like that. I like college ball, but I don't really watch a lot of major league sports.
I like that we're setting this up. So it's Black History Month.
It is Black
It's
History Month.
February. We forgot about that last week.
Well, it was like February 1st or 2nd. Like we didn't,
Yeah,
we
we
didn't
wanted
even know
to
what
be-
month it was.
wanted to be topical, but we're just gonna like the rest of the United States, they took the shortest month of the year.
God.
Gave it to our black people, our black friends,
Yep.
and we shortened that. So we're gonna go 3 straight weeks of notable African Americans of note, and I like that you went default athlete.
What do
That's
you
all there is
Hey,
to Jake.
actually, I think it's really messed up that you're only categorizing him as an athlete because Doc Ellis was an athlete.
He's way more than
and
that.
an activist.
Yes.
And gave us one of the most interesting moments in sports. Doc Ellis threw a no-hitter.
Is it because like in my school I only learned that black people only created peanut butter, right?
Actually, George Washington Carver didn't create peanut butter.
Well, then I was lied to.
No,
Yes,
he
one of the
found
many lies you were taught in your history class.
Yeah, he had like 90 uses for peanuts. Not one of them, I think, was peanut butter.
What the fuck did he? What
Actually,
are the
George
90
Washington
reasons?
Carver, interestingly enough, actually know why he's important because he was talking about topsoil rotation in order to
My
grow.
point is, we don't give them enough credit.
No, absolutely not.
We're
no,
just like,
our
he's the
entire
peanut guy.
butter.
Yeah,
He's
our
the peanut
entire
guy.
childhood is just like, black people created peanut butter.
But
That's
to be
it.
fair, though, to an
I don't think-
8-year-old, that's probably fine. Like, it's not
That's like
fine,
half
I
your
guess.
meals.
But yeah, it's like,
it's
hey, you don't
PB&J.
think black people are important? You know that thing you eat every day?
I don't think
Black
anyone's
guy gave it to you.
One thing, I don't think most 8-year-olds are like, man, black people aren't that important. Like, come on. Like, I think that's a weird, loaded way for a weird adult to be like, hey, if you don't think they're important, like, all right,
Yeah,
who said that?
it's the adults they're projecting onto
Right,
children.
of course.
Oh,
It's
so
like,
we're like, all right, so let's look at our friend group in Austin. Perhaps maybe the whitest city in America.
it's one
oh
of
my
them.
God.
It's
Like-
definitely up there.
This city is whiter than I am.
I'm like, who can we get on? Should we Skype our friends in from back home?
Right.
Because like, to be honest, like our roster here in Austin, it's a little depleted.
One
here.
of the things
it's
too,
it's pasty as shit.
I was going to be like, hey, black friends, and then have like an all post bulletin, like, hey, hit us up if you have any cool stories you want to talk about. Then I said in our group text, is like, well, one, we don't need a black person talking about black people.
No, we're 3 white straight males talking about
History?
the history.
Okay, you started the Black History Month initiative. I just kind of forgot, to be honest with you, but I've been wanting to talk about Doc Ellis for a
thought it
long
makes
time.
sense, yeah.
Well, and
It
also
is a history month.
Yeah.
We are a history podcast.
we're a history podcast. Yeah, so Doc Ellis is important to me because I grew up always hearing about this. Doc Ellis, for all of you that don't
What?
know,
Wow, how often did this come up at the dinner table?
it came up on the walk after the dinner table with my friends.
Okay.
Yeah, so like it came up a lot.
This is the way, like, when you say you grew up hearing about it, that implies that your dad was like, you think I'm a piece of shit for doing drugs? Let me tell you about Doc Ellis.
No, it's
no.
more about his mom.
Well, his mom is definitely the rad one on that.
For his
front.
mom, Doc Ellis was the one that got away. So
No, my mom was 7 when Doc Ellis threw the no-hitter. Okay, let me stop bearing the lead here. Doc Ellis in 1970 threw a no-hitter, completely whacked out on LSD.
was it a no hitter or a complete game or a
No, it was not a perfect game. It was a no-hitter. A perfect
He
game.
walked like 8 people. Or
He
something
hit a
like
couple
That makes
batters
way
too.
more sense.
that. Yeah.
But there's a lot.
Not a clean scorecard.
Well, come on.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, there's a lot we're going to talk
That's an
about.
impossible feat on LSD.
A perfect game's almost impossible. Period.
There's
So,
only been about 21 in the history of the major
Roy
leagues.
Halladay, R.I.P.
I mean, so and no-hitters are
Perfect game, but he couldn't fly a plane perfectly.
wow.
No, sure couldn't.
He was actually like fucked up in that play, ironically.
Yeah, we
So-
know. It
So
was a little play plane.
no, but I mean, like he was like on something.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is,
we don't need to go through the.
I'm just saying,
Toxicity
Doc Ellis
reports.
pitched a perfect game on drugs, or pitched a no hitter on drugs,
Yeah.
and Roy Halladay, who pitched a perfect game, died flying a plane on drugs.
Yeah, so Doc Ellis didn't do that. So
Yeah.
I think the win goes there.
But
But
Doc Ellis is still alive, right?
no, he's dead.
Oh, he died.
He died of liver cirrhosis.
Oh.
Yeah, so we're going to talk a lot more about the person Doc Ellis than this one kind of isolated moment, because I think there's a lot to understand that led up to him being whacked out on drugs, throwing a no-hitter. Like, you don't just start the day like, I'm going to take acid and do a no-hitter game
It was a
today.
different time, Jake.
It was a different time, but Ellis was actually going through quite a bit. I mean, not only was he dealing with the complications and struggles of someone that was one of, he was on the Pittsburgh Pirates in the early 70s, and that was one of the first all-black starting lineups. In Major League Baseball, he's facing a lot of societal pressures, too, because he was basically like a, if you fuck up, you're done kind of player in the league. But I kind of want to go through a little bit of background on him before we get to that game.
Yeah, I mean, think about just the amount of people that were actually allowed into Major League Baseball. I mean, that window was very small.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I mean, you're talking about
Because Jackie Robinson was what? What year was that? Like
47. 49. Yeah.
something like that?
Yeah. Okay. So this not too long after.
I mean, baseball had been integrated for 20 plus years at this point. So
right, but it's also during the height of the.
there's still people are still racist. I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, and also equal rights activism. What's the name of the bill?
The Civil Rights Act.
The Civil Rights Act. Yeah. Whoops.
That had
history,
just been
my
signed in
friends.
'69.
Yeah, it was just signed.
Yeah.
Like, so it's
Yeah,
in
Robinson
the,
was 1947.
But it's not so much that it's like, oh, it's been 20 years since it's been integrated. Like you said, racism's always happening, but also it's in the heat of just all this coverage about the Civil Rights Act and everything.
I want to say Martin Luther King Jr. was probably assassinated like a year or two before that.
Yeah, I mean, you have Selma going on in the decade prior.
By the CIA, of
There's
course.
a lot happening.
Yes, of course.
by the CIA.
By the CIA.
But our boy Doc was actually born March 11th, 1945, so not too far before the
So
Jackie
he
Robinson.
was born 2 years before baseball integrated.
Well, also right after World War II. Draft dodger, some would say.
Yes.
Yeah,
Doc
he
Ellis
was really
avoided the
skipping
war.
out
Yeah.
on World War II.
Draft dodging fetus.
That's
Yeah.
right. No, if he should have just came out early. Yeah. Started swing.
Serve your country.
Yeah, that's right. Just get in there, man.
They
But
weren't
anyway,
even, black people didn't have to do that much scary stuff in World War II. Like you had the Tuskegee Airmen and a couple black
was actually
units,
the-
but most of them were relegated to like driving trucks and bullshit like that. So
yeah, Tuskegee.
we didn't integrate until Truman integrated for the Korean War. That was the first time.
Well, I was gonna do the Tuskegee Airmen actually for this episode, but a lot to cover for like not a ton of action.
Was it the Red Tails?
Yeah.
yeah. Those were what do you mean? Like they didn't?
Well, it's just like a lot. It's a long time. They like accomplished a lot, of
Yeah.
course, but it's like there's not like a moment like someone throwing a no-hitter on acid where you can kind of
like,
key into it,
The
right?
Tuskegee Airmen is like fascinating, but it's not a good topic for our podcast
Right.
because nothing crazy really happened.
It's war.
It's straightforward.
It's just
yeah,
war.
It's really
It's-
that's the way to put it. They were pretty straightforwardly
in war.
and good at their jobs.
Yeah.
Like it was like nothing wacky happened. while they
No,
were-
it's because it's like, oh yeah, they are also competent at what they do.
yeah,
right.
and I know, like the most you could say is like you could probably bring up some racist stuff that happened to them, but even then it's not like it's just like and then this racist thing happened. Like
Yeah.
it's not like you won't fucking believe what.
So just to kind of note, like when Doc Ellis was going to school in LA, he played basketball. He played like kind of semi-professional baseball, but he wouldn't play for the school. He was starting drinking already and doing drugs, but he's really good at basketball. And he's like 14 years old when he starts drinking, but he's pretty good at hiding it. And then his senior year, he's like, fuck it, I'm going to start doing drugs at school before games. And so they catch him just high as shit, smoking a bunch of weed in a bathroom, which is, fun, I'm sure, before basketball.
But by the way, getting caught smoking weed in the 1950s or early 60s is like, I guess I don't even know what the equivalent to like getting caught now, because now weed's like a lot more normalized. But like back then, it was like like a demon drug. You know
Yeah,
what
I mean, there was
it's like
definitely-
it's like walking into a junior high bathroom and find someone like shooting up heroin.
Yeah, I think there's a famous billboard in Fear and Loathing that shows like
What are you talking
possession.
about? There are people overdosing on marijuana today.
Today.
Okay, Rob?
Today.
Wait, did someone overdose on marijuana today?
No, who is this?
Hundreds.
I think there was somebody that was tweeting about that like over the weekend.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
I mean,
Some like super conservative.
Oh, sure.
smoke a ton of weed, give yourself a panic attack, and die. I guess if you.
I mean,
really want
yeah, if you're a fucking pussy.
Yeah, I mean, if you're fuck, there was a basketball player that ate too many gummies on a.
Okay, eating too many gummies is not smoking too much weed. Like if you're gonna get yourself so
like
high you fall
this
asleep.
year, it was last year.
Yeah, like if you eat too many gummies on accident, you can have a bad time, like a really bad one.
Yes.
But
Especially on a plane.
Have you ever taken too many edibles?
yeah, of course.
I have.
I think it was Deion Waiters actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We made weed brownies one time in college, and we were already like high or drunk or something. I don't fucking remember. But we cut the brownies like normal width and length without taking into account depth of pan.
So wait, were they deep brownies?
Yeah, it was deep. They were deep.
Nice.
And it was basically like doubling up on the fucking dose. And
Right.
I was up till like 4 a.m. Just
Jeez.
heart pounding out
Yeah,
of my chest.
no, I made my own butter and didn't really know the potency of it. And
Yeah.
I ended up being high for about 3 days.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, it's really funny when college kids are like, I think I'm going to try it. And then they don't know what they're doing or like how it translates. It's like, well, I only put like a 1/4 of an ounce in this brownie pan, but it's like, it's a way different high.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he gets caught smoking marijuana in the bathroom and they're like, hey, listen, we can expel you, but we're not going to if you play for our baseball team at the high school level. And he's like,
What
all
a
right.
deal.
He's like, all right, fine. Well, here's the thing. He was very adamant and vocal about not joining that baseball team because when he was there for tryouts his first year, kid called him a spear chucker. And he was like, I don't want to be on a team with a bunch of white dudes that call me slurs.
Spear chucker.
Yes, exactly.
Honestly, that feels kind of tame for the 1960s.
Right. I mean, it's still, yeah. I mean, it's California.
No, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, LA was-
they're always ahead of the curve. Right.
Yeah.
They weren't using the N-word anymore.
With
Yeah.
their racism.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
No,
they were
were
very progressive.
They had relegated back down to like just cheap, like
Right.
slurs, right?
Although honestly, a part of me thinks that someone who says that is like a worse racist because they're trying to get creative with it.
Yeah, they're getting artsy.
Yeah, like if they just call you the N-word, like you just know they're just an old-fashioned piece of shit race. But if this one's like thinking about it enough to like diversify, like terms,
I mean, are we ranking racists?
Yeah. That's kind of a throwaway line too. Like I've heard a lot of people in Philadelphia throw that out.
I'm sure
in like the 90s.
One of the most
it's such a sounds like I can only hear that word in a Boston accent.
I was going to say Baltimore.
Yeah. like it just sounds like what an East Coast,
like old school Northeast East Coast city racist. It's so weird
Dacky,
how pervasive it's weird how pervasive racism is in like the old school guys up north. Like you would think it would not be.
No one gets a rawer deal than the South on that shit.
I mean, one gets a rawer deal. Is kind of a stretch.
We're equal opportunity, opportunity racists in the Northeast. We'll go after the Italians. We'll go after the Polacks.
That's fair. All I'm saying is people really try to just dump it on the South.
Oh yeah, totally.
And it's fucking super not.
Yeah, no, I mean, if anyone's ever been to Baltimore, Maryland, like,
fuck yeah.
Because the South focuses on one or two groups, and the Northeast has everybody.
They hate everyone up there.
Yeah, we hate everyone. We don't.
Is it racism if you hate everyone?
No.
Yeah.
Well, still yes.
You have to hate yourself though too.
Yeah.
That's what you.
We hate everyone, but we hate them for their race.
Anyway,
whereas we hate other people for other things.
So Doc Ellis only appeared in 4 games, and he was named All-League that year because he was so good.
Of course,
he was already playing like semi-professionally.
Right, yeah.
So
he was playing against. He was a high school kid who was playing against adults, and then he had to go play against kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was crushing it. So,
God, I'm kind of mad at you for doing this topic because I wanted to do Wilt Chamberlain in high school. He had a whole complete alias where he played professional basketball at 16 under a different name.
You can totally do this topic.
No, that'll next year. We'll save that for next year.
All right.
Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, so
we're not going athlete.
Why not?
Because there's more to Black history than just athletes.
We're gonna do Black history.
Well, next week on Softcore History, get ready for Peanut Butter, the episode. All right, so anyway, various Major League Baseball teams attempted to sign him to a professional contract while he was doing kind of the minor league stuff, but he had heard that the Pittsburgh Pirates gave out signing bonuses of $60,000. So he's like, fuck that, I'm holding out until Pittsburgh signs me. And he got them to sign him. The thing is, while he was holding out, he stole a car. Yeah. So we're going to start down a little path here with Doc Ellis where I'm going to tell you, he wasn't a great dude. Like, he did a lot of dumb shit.
Right.
Obviously. But
look, man, stealing a car back then was like shoplifting.
We know that apparently stealing a car got you sent to the Navy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like the
John
old
Dillinger.
trope. Yeah. That's like the old
you could
trope.
Just go home
like,
if you didn't like it.
That was actually one of our better episodes. Go ahead and check out John Dillinger episode. But yeah, he stole a car, ended up in the Navy, and then just bailed. He's like, did my 6 months.
Yeah,
I'm good.
It's like,
why the fuck not? You know, I mean, like it's that is like.
AWOL.
Do they still do that? Are they still like, all right, you stole this car, but if you join the army?
Yeah, I'm trying to adjust my face around the stuff I need to read.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha.
But so after he gets probation, a scout reaches out to him. He's like, "Hey, we'll sign you. It's a $2,500 signing bonus, and you get $500
What is he
a
getting
month."
signed off of though? Because they're just like, "Hey, you look like an athlete."
I think just talent at the minor league level. He was also playing in junior college after high school.
Scouting
too.
at that point.
Just scouting. Like he was
My
known.
dad played at junior college.
Oh wow.
Did your dad ever throw a no-no on acid?
He never did.
No. That's why we're not talking about him.
Yeah.
Some people say, or just mainly him, said they made him throw his arm out.
I know a lot of people that actually say that.
Could have been a contender.
Anyway, so he believed he was not a part of the major league, like right off the bat, the Pirates' main AAA organization.
He got signed to AAA, is what you're saying?
No, I'm saying he was brought into the organization, but he wasn't at the AAA level yet.
So like AA,
yeah,
or even back then, I don't know.
Yeah, this is
what level that is.
I mean, there were AAA teams back then, but I don't know how. Like, now there's A ball, AA, AAA, but there's also rookie ball, summer league. I mean,
there's everything. Anyway, so
things.
he's in the lower level of the organization, and he was starting to say that like he was.
I want to know about these 4 games he played in high school though. Did they even touch him? Like,
I can't imagine. He was all league after 4 games.
Hit? Like,
no, he must have been crushing.
I mean, there's a player. Oh fuck! He was in the playoffs this year. I forget who, but some pitcher. He's like a fat country idiot too, and
they're the best.
His ERA in high school, I want to say he had something like 200 strikeouts and allowed like 3 runs all season or something like just some obscene numbers. hit us up in our DMs or something about this, because I can't remember. I have no idea who it was, but it was just some big, fat country idiot.
Throwing gas.
Just hucking rocks.
Yeah, dude. It's like watching Jared Lorenzen in like Kentucky highlights when he's playing.
R.I.P., by the way.
I know. Sad day. Anyway, we're not talking about him, though. Anyway, so he believed he was not on the major league level, like on the actual starting club, because the Pirates had already had a number of African-American players. And he felt that the team did not want to alienate white fans further, because they were on pace to like have the first all
hold on, we've met our quota.
That's definitely a real thing.
Yeah, no, and like
too many black folks on the field.
And he would say this stuff. They'd be like, "No, Doc, that's not true. Like we just, but it's kind of the double talk that he had to start dealing with a lot in his professional career, because it's like, okay, man, instead of you being such a loudmouth, you should be thankful you are where you are.
Right.
And that's kind of the attitude he's given from a higher level organization.
Going on today. People
Absolutely.
are yelling at fucking LeBron to shut up and dribble. Like,
it's absurd. Yeah. That is absurd. It's just for someone to tell that to LeBron James.
Like,
are you fucking kidding?
He's about to win MVP again.
It's like telling Tiger Woods to shut up and swing your club. Like,
to be fair,
fuck yourself.
Well, they pretty much
to be fair,
I mean, that's true.
To be fair. Because I just like to say, to be fair,
man.
it pisses Dan off. So I say, all I will say about LeBron James shutting up and dribbling or not shutting up and dribbling is that I don't want him to shut up and dribble, but I do not want him to elaborate too much. Like, just point me to what you think is a good source. Like, I don't want you to explain the issue to me, LeBron James. Point me to what you read, and I'll read it. But like, I don't think LeBron James or any athlete is very good at anyone who's like, at some point you have to listen to an expert, right? Like, I want LeBron James saying like, black people are treated badly by the police. That's great. He should do that. He has a platform. But like, I don't want LeBron James to get into policy. Like, I don't want Colin Kaepernick to get into policy. Point me to the people I should be listening to. Like, you should be flagging people down and pointing them to where they like the people they should listen to.
Like advocate for specific representatives or anything like that are
right.
That's
there is a limit on like how much anyone who's being an activist who isn't an expert on the subject should talk about it before they pass it off to the people who will actually explain it well.
Sure. I mean, because
I also don't want to be lectured by millionaires.
That could also be said about like my uncle at Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yeah. No. It's most people that aren't experts. Everyone.
Your uncle. Yeah. Like no. I mean, like if you want to go that way, like that's fine too. Like shut up and plumb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. No. That is excellent. Like shut up and turn that wrench.
Yeah.
Like Uncle Dave. Yeah. No, for sure. People don't understand things are like a two-way street though. It's like fucking Twitter. You were saying shut up and dribble on Twitter.
Yeah.
Literally anyone can be like,
you shouldn't. Yeah.
You should shut up and go back to accounting, Mike.
Yeah. Right. Like, what's your job?
Yeah.
No. You shouldn't. No one should be telling anyone who has a platform like that to not speak out. My only thing is that like there's a level.
Oh, sure.
I don't want you to present yourself as the expert. I want you to be a signpost to the expert.
Steven Jackson, when you dig in a little too deep, it's like we don't need to hear too much from Steven Jackson, because then he goes full the true sons of Israel.
Right.
Oh man, I love the true sons of Israel.
Like that's the trap that like even like fucking Kaepernick falls into, where he starts explaining to Cuban refugees why Castro's awesome.
Oh, when he wears a Castro
and it's
shirt
like, what the
in
fuck?
Miami.
Dude? Yeah, like it's like, come on, man. Like you're out of your depth at this point.
That's
like
very beyond the pale for you. Also, too, like even David Icke was like a famous soccer player, right? Or a famous soccer announcer, and he's now like talking about the lizard people and how they control the world. It's just there are people in sports that maybe should have some range. I get what you're saying.
All those people, like anyone with a platform like that, should be a signpost to the experts.
Sure. Anyway, Ellis, after kind of sitting around in the organization, he was sent down to the Macon Peaches of the Southern League for a little bit, which Ellis believed was because of the length of his hair. Now, Ellis had some notable like
flow.
You have a flow or fro?
So he wore like curlers. So I don't know like if it was
like a Jerry curl.
I don't know if it was like a Jerry curl or just kind of like curly big hair.
To look up a picture.
But there was a lot of controversy around his hair being just oily. Because it was very black and oily, and like people were like,
so he just looked too black.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right.
That was kind of what the idea behind it was.
I was almost like, oh, was the controversy that he was like putting shit on the ball, but you wouldn't want to put oil on the ball, right?
Actually,
funny
you mentioned that.
Funny
you mentioned that.
I thought you want something that will give you more grip, like pine tar.
No,
like catch air.
What about a spitball?
Yeah, I mean anything that makes the ball move.
Moist.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. So okay. So the oily hair in that regard would potentially be an issue.
So actually, now that you say that, he did use the oil in his hair to throw hot pitches,
which is great.
It's fucking amazing. He's like, oh, you guys hate me for this black thing I have going on. Like, I'm gonna use it to beat you.
To be fair though,
like,
I love
cheating, but
that kind of cheating.
Yeah.
Right?
Just throwing absolute
like doing
filth.
steroids is lame, and
I'm fine with steroids. I'm fine with
steroids
steroids.
is lame to me. And like if you're like the Black Sox and you're throwing the World Series,
No,
fuck
throwing
that.
the game is bullshit.
But doing like ticky tack shit like that, I love that.
Oh, so you're a big fan of the Astros then?
Yes, I'm down with what the Astros did, 100%.
He's hanging.
He's a big
trash cans.
Deflategate guy too.
You like the buzzer underneath the shirt?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
that's one of the most storied parts. One of the best parts of baseball history is the cheating.
Yes,
the rampant cheating.
Right.
That
So why don't
always
you like
happen.
steroids? What's wrong with steroids?
I just think I don't like that for some reason. I don't know. I can't justify myself. I just don't like it.
No, I don't care about steroids because I think if someone wants to push themselves to the limits of physical strength and like possibly jeopardize their health in a moment of glory, like I think we talked about this on an episode, but they asked Olympians like if you could do some sort of exercise regimen or take some drug where it would reduce your life by like 20 years, but you get to be on the gold, like you get to be on the podium holding the gold medal, would you do it? And they're like, in a heartbeat.
I do not think I would want to die at 60 with a gold medal rather than live to 80.
All right, would you want to be Lance Armstrong?
I mean,
no.
Okay,
wait, am I going to die?
No, he's not dead.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I'd do that.
Are you taking Lance Armstrong's life? You lose a ball, you have cancer because of the probably.
If I get to live the whole thing, I wouldn't like level up in age 20 years out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Like you just drop into Lance Armstrong's body right now.
Yeah,
you're on the tail end of a lot of fun.
Yeah. I'd go. I mean, if I could live the whole thing and fuck Sheryl Crow and shit, like yeah, for sure, why not?
Sheryl Crow seems like your type. Anyway,
Mizzou.
Yeah, oh my god, fucking A.
She went to Mizzou. She was
of course
Theta.
She did. During his minor league career, here's some other fun. Oh, sorry, I didn't say this, but as soon as Ellis shaved his head in Georgia, they moved him back up to the Columbus team.
Christ.
Yeah. So during his minor league career, here's some other stuff though. Ellis once chased a heckler in the stands with a baseball bat.
That's tight. I love that.
Amazing. He also used pills when he pitched. Obviously.
What do you think he chased him for? Was it, if he was in Georgia, it might have been something racial.
It was definitely.
Which is funny because one time Ty Cobb went into the stands and beat the shit out of someone for calling him the N-word.
No arms and no legs, right?
Yeah. We really need to do a Ty Cobb episode.
Wait, what?
Ty Cobb is insane.
Ty Cobb beat up a quadriplegic for calling
who
him the
I
N-word?
think might have lost him in World War I or something like
For
that.
calling him what?
The N-word, right?
Yeah, he called him the N-word.
Oh my god.
The guy called Ty Cobb the N-word, and Ty Cobb was offended, like not because it's like, hey, that's racist, but because Ty Cobb was so racist that he hated being called black.
Right.
So he beat him up for calling him black.
He is
not be.
Ty Cobb.
Ty Cobb is
one of the biggest pieces of shit.
That's hard to wrap my head around, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Ty Cobb is we really need to do a Ty Cobb episode. He is hilariously awful.
We might have to do like a whole like sports month or something too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so also, as it's probably well known, many players were doing this too, but of course, Doc Ellis was very much involved with the amphetamines, Benzedrine and
Greenies.
Dexamyl.
Called Greenies.
Yeah, so Dexies, I think, were the green ones. If
Okay.
I'm not mistaken.
They used to have just a giant jar in the clubhouse that you just kind of reach into. Like,
yeah, like, so
like
Doc,
but
they're
those,
fucking.
How bad does that actually like get you jacked up? Because I feel like you could just like slam 3 cold brews.
no, not real.
This is
You're talking
speed.
about like 1970s speed,
Yeah.
dude. Like, it's the rockiest shit out.
All right.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, these are like fucking just hard candy in your grandparents' house
Like
that are just left
before
in
they
jars.
refined it into how does Adderall make you feel? And imagine how that feeling was before they refined it down to Adderall.
I mean, I was on some pretty early versions of Adderall. For
Also, you
that
got to think
Ritalin,
like their
Focalin?
caffeine.
No, so Focalin was after Adderall.
Oh, you're right. Focalin was.
Their
I
caffeine
was on
and stuff
both
back
of
then
those,
was probably way weaker, right?
No, caffeine I think was about the same.
Anyway,
Weed was weaker.
Yeah,
Coke was better though.
weed
all
was
the
way
weed
weaker.
that our parents smoked was fucking tumbleweed shit.
It was. I mean, if you want to talk, we can do the history of weed one day, which would be great.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
I remember
But-
smoking my dad not too long ago, and he was just like, "This is not the weed."
It's
I
not
smoked."
even the same drug.
No.
Like, it's insane. Anyway, speaking of drugs, let's get back to amphetamines real quick. So Ellis said he was doing the amphetamines and the Dexamyl because he was stressed by the pressure of his can't miss status as a prospect. So basically, he couldn't fuck up or like have a slump as a pitcher, or else he was going to be gone. He's already causing he's a loudmouth, right? So he can't have a slump whatsoever.
It's you could make the argument it's the same thing right now with just NFL quarterbacks. Like
totally.
Any black quarterback that like fucks up, they don't get a second chance. They're not like
it's insane.
Retread quarterbacks. They're not Garrett Gilberts. They're not the Blaine Gabberts of the world.
Blaine Gabbert existing on rosters for the rest of his life.
There's no clipboard Jesus that's black.
It's the type of thing where, well, Vince Young might not be a great example because he's an extremely poor decision maker, but there are, yes, a lot of like black quarterbacks who probably people are like, I don't want him as a backup, right? They're like, these guys might not still like Blaine Gabbert. Like Blaine Gabbert shouldn't be a starter, but people think he's a competent backup. Like he's fine.
They want him to throw little out routes and stuff like that. Yeah.
So they pretty much are that way. Like they're not that way with black quarterbacks. Way. Like it's
amazing the kind of like.
I mean, Chase Daniels made like $40 million.
Well, I was just about to say, like, think about
you're saying like PJ Walker can't like be a backup in the NFL.
Byron Leftwich, he could. I mean, he's
offensive.
He's an OC now, and he's gonna be a head coach soon. But still, though, like his career probably should have been a little longer.
Okay, right? David Garrard.
You're naming like all the Jags.
Every Jags quarterback fan.
Anyway, so he eventually. So Ellis said, like later on in his career, he never pitched a game at the major league level without amphetamines. Like
dude, but yeah, everyone was on those back then.
Right, but that's insane. That's a lot of toll on your body. He eventually.
But that's not cheating.
But steroids is cheating.
Steroids is cheating.
Yes.
So he eventually
just clearing that up.
Yeah. I'm not trying to make sense of it. I'm just.
So he needed like 85 milligrams of Dexamyl a game just to be able to pitch.
So to give reference to that, my highest Adderall prescription ever for actual like school related things was I think like 30 milligrams.
Yeah, I knew kids that were on 70s, and like that was a ton.
Yeah,
that was a fuck ton, and that was extended.
That was super.
That was extended release.
Yeah.
So it was throughout the course of the day. This guy's taking 85 milligrams to the dome, like right before he goes out on the mound.
Yeah,
that's insane. Or like right before he goes to warm up.
I can't imagine you, because the fucking crash you have on that shit.
Oh, you just drink through that.
That's the reason, like people. That's the reason, like Adderall causes depression.
Yeah,
it's because you're literally a child who doesn't know how to deal with a hangover. Right. Like it's not the same as an alcohol hangover, but it's a crash and the anxiety from that crash and everything.
You're not understanding the chemicals.
Yeah,
the chemical imbalance.
And as soon as I figured that out, the depression went away. As soon as I was like, this is chemical. Like this, I don't actually have anything wrong. My mind is being. Like,
your mind's fucked. You fucked with your brain. You borrowed fun from the day later. You borrowed fun from a day.
Yeah,
so that day's especially not good.
It was really big to figure that out.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's big for even like drinking. Like, I'm starting to get to the point where it's like I don't have like as much hangover anxiety anymore as I used to, because it's like, oh, I just feel like shit. I'm not
hangover anxiety to begin with.
Yeah, I did.
Why?
What are you talking about? Because I drink a fuck ton, think I was a piece of shit for no reason because I couldn't remember anything.
It also just causes anxiety.
Yeah, if you have anxiety, like
it's withdrawal.
Yeah,
it's just a symptom of Dan. Yeah, Dan
doesn't believe in mental health. That's fine.
Yeah,
he uses.
We'll proceed. We don't have to address this, but
fuck you. No, what do you want to say?
No, we're good. We're good.
Okay,
we'll proceed.
Just keep it all locked in that big head.
Yeah,
never let it out, man.
Oh, my life's so tough.
I'm not saying it's tough. My life's exceptionally easy. I just hate myself.
Sure.
Anyway, Doc Ellis. Yeah, so he would take like 5 to 12 capsules before pitching, depending on their strength. And Ellis even acknowledged later, of course, he started using cocaine as well in the 1960s. But all that to say, he's doing a lot of drugs. He's getting into a lot of mischief. And it all kind of culminates in June of 1970. So this is the no-no we're going to talk about now. This is kind of leading up to
it. But you have all these chemical imbalances going on in his brain. You have all this talent in the world. How did he not come up with the gyro ball?
What is the gyro ball?
It's a fucking ball that they thought, what was his name from Japan that came over for the Red Sox?
Kenshin, no, that's
no.
Daisuke.
Daisuke.
Yeah.
They're like, oh man, he throws this incredible, crazy pitch that's never been seen before. It's the gyro ball, and it just never had. Like, it was fable. It was fiction.
So no one had ever seen it.
Yeah.
So much like that, no one has actually ever seen footage of this game. that I'm about to talk about.
Okay.
It was filmed
before shit was on TV every day.
This was filmed though.
Yeah,
like, it was definitely filmed, and
there is a whole. I believe he narrates like a 30 for 30 short.
The documentary.
Yeah. Where they do a little cartoon. I would recommend checking that out.
I think I sent that over in my links today too.
Did you? Okay.
The 4-minute thing where it's him narrating it or whatever.
And by the way, it's worth noting, Doc Ellis probably not probably. He didn't necessarily live up to his super duper prospect status, but like he won a
World Series.
He had a good career.
Yeah, he had a great career.
But he's not a Cy Young winner. I mean, like just reading off his ERA, like or his wins above replacement, like
look, he's not Satchel Paige, but
no, but he had ERAs in like 270, 305, 316.
Yeah,
I mean, like he's
a solid baseball player.
And several times he had a FR above 4, 30 wins above replacement for his career, which is like good. That means you're a good player,
right?
If you have 30 wins above replacement, like the average person, like a random big leaguer has like 10 probably.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that much about baseball stats, so that's helpful for people that know baseball stats. But
yeah, so Doc Ellis, definitely not a Hall of Famer, also definitely not a scrub. Now, granted, his low ERAs, he was pitching in a time when offense was relatively suppressed. Like there weren't big offensive numbers back then.
It's because it was their second job still.
No, not in the 70s. What? 60s? No, the 60s, 70s. It wasn't their second jobs in the 20s.
It for sure was in the 20s. What are you talking about? They were fucking milkmen and shit.
No, they were not milkmen by the 20s. Are you kidding me?
I mean, it was the great American pastime by then.
So is horse racing.
And certainly post World War II is they don't have second jobs. But like I said, the offense wasn't. The offense was a bit suppressed. I want to say in '68 they actually had to lower the mound because it was like offense was getting insane. So in 1968, something like that, Bob Gibson set the record of the St. Louis Cardinals, another maybe the greatest black pitcher of all time and easily a top 5 to 10 great pitcher all time period. He set the all-time ERA record for a single season. It was like 1.12 or something like that, which is just bananas. And they lowered the mound the next year
because they're like, we need a little offense.
Yeah.
Jeez, yeah. My eyes kind of glossed over when you started talking about ERAs, and I don't know any of that stuff. I don't watch baseball that much, so
dude, I don't want to take
North Central Florida. You don't have a team.
Yeah, I have the
Braves,
Gators.
baby.
I have the Gators. That's it.
What's funny though is you're like, my eyes glossed over that boring sports stuff. At your goddamn wedding, the entire time we were hanging out in the groom's room, you and everyone else except for me, because I was the only non-Gator there, watched Florida's spring football game on a phone.
Yeah, I love
which is the most boring shit. It's a scrimmage.
What are you talking about? It's amazing. You get to see the new talent.
They were like, "Oh my god, that's a great throw! Did you see it? It's a fucking like flag football game."
Big Franks.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I don't want to hear this baseball statistic shit talk.
Oh yeah, no, I could riddle off any statistic from any Florida game. Like I could tell you what like fucking Carlos Alvarez caught in like 1956. I don't know.
I unfortunately don't know about this memory because I wasn't there. So.
Oh,
yikes!
Was he invited?
Shit, I don't think
sure
so. We kind of hit the cap on people.
Man, yeah. So
I got bumped.
So did we, real bad.
Yeah,
I got bumped.
Anyway,
you were at mine. It's okay.
All right, guys. It's Thursday, June 11th, 1970. The Pirates land in San Diego the day before a doubleheader where they're playing the Padres, and Doc Ellis has some friends in LA. And he asked the manager, "Hey, it's like early in the morning. Can I go fly up to LA and visit my friends and be back for the game Friday night?" And the manager's like, "I don't give a shit."
Because he wasn't supposed to pitch.
No, he was supposed to.
No,
pitch.
he got penciled in.
Oh, did he get penciled?
From what I've.
Oh, you are actually. You might be right on that. He doesn't mention it in the interview.
Like he wasn't scheduled to start.
He was not scheduled to start, which is why he took the trip to LA. That's why he took the LSD, because he thought he had the day off.
Yeah.
Well, he did have the day. He took the LSD Thursday, before the game even happened.
Yeah.
So, and it's like Thursday at, let's see here. He takes the LSD at, I want to say like noon. So, I'm sorry. This is really messed up. I got a little thrown. I am sorry about this. So, Doc lands San Diego. Mm-hmm. It's early in the morning. He flies up to LA. He takes a hit of acid when he lands in LAX. So, he gets picked up. He goes out partying with his friends Thursday night because he doesn't think he's starting. That's correct. He's so whacked out on acid, though. Someone's like, hey, man, like, he's going to go take another hit. And they're like, hey, man, should you do? He's like, fuck off. I'm going to take this acid. Like, I'm having a good time. And he wakes up at 2 p.m. He wakes up at 12 p.m. on Friday at noon.
Yeah.
Thinking it's still Thursday day. And a lady's like, hey, don't do any more acid. He's like, fuck you, bitch. I'm going to take acid. And so he takes more acid. Then, like, 2 p.m. rolls around, and his girlfriend comes back up. And it's like, hey, you're scheduled to pitch today now. Like, you got to get back down to San Diego. The game's at 6:05. It's 2 p.m. in L.A. He is coming right up on acid at this point.
Yeah.
He's totally, like, about to hit where you start peaking.
Yeah. And what happens?
So what happens when you peak on acid?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the few drugs I've never done.
Okay, you haven't done it?
No.
Okay,
I've never done it,
okay,
no.
so acid, it's one of those things where if you forget you take it, like, I don't know who does this, but
do you
like,
pop it like a Listerine strip?
you put it on your tongue, you let it chill there for a little bit, and then like an hour or two goes by, and you're like, is this even working? And then
you take more.
You don't. I would never advise anyone to take more acid if
it's
they.
Always the move though. It's like, I don't even feel it, man. Like,
yeah,
it's not even.
That's going to be a much bigger.
You do that with an edible too, like a weed.
People
edible.
do that with edibles.
Yeah,
all
it's
the
like,
time.
dude, what did you do? Kick it takes like an hour or something. And then
it depends completely on like if you've eaten anything, what your body weight is. Anyway, acid, you feel like all of a sudden you feel like you're kind of going up on a roller coaster, like that, and not like you're raising physically,
just
but
the
like,
anticipation.
There's a moment where you're like, oh yeah, I just took acid, and so you're like, if you've never expected it, you're like,
go.
yeah, like so, light starts, you get more sensitive to light, patterns start to breathe a little bit, depending on how much you take. So I've never taken more than 2 hits.
Also, I want to touch on something that Rob said before we even started the podcast. He's like, I don't want to do drugs that make me see things that aren't there. And why are you taking drugs then?
For other things.
There's plenty of drugs that make you.
I'll be honest. The only drug
I want to see.
I don't even smoke weed at this point. The only drug I even do sometimes would be Coke, and I only do that to just
keep
up.
drinking.
Yeah, literally. I don't even do it
it's
for
a drinking
that.
supplement.
If someone offered me something else instead, like a Red Bull, I would do that. Really, it's not because
too much sugar. I'd rather do Coke.
This is such a Dan call.
But truly though, it's not.
But also, I agree with Dan.
It's not even because I'm like, yeah, man, I love that drug. It's just like, oh, God, I guess I need this.
But also, Adderall is superior to Coke.
I agree with that. I would much rather take a I don't like doing lines of Adderall. But I would take a pill. If it's gonna be a long day.
Okay, doing lines of Adderall is some fucking rat shit, man.
I think it's ratchet shit.
Yeah, no rat shit.
Oh, okay.
It's just like
just dry scoop some original Jacked.
I mean, it would have the same effect
if
as
you
Adderall.
still had it.
My buddy actually.
That shit's definitely bad by now.
At our wedding, or at my wedding, at my wedding.
You two got married. Actually.
My fraternity brother had greenies. Remember?
He had green. He didn't have greenies.
He was like, what's it called? It's like hippie speed. What was it called?
Kava.
Okay.
Or no. What? Not kava. Matcha. Not matcha. What the fuck was that stuff? It was like, yeah. He was like,
I'll text him right now.
It's kratom.
Oh, yeah.
He had kratom, and he was like, if you take 2, it's like speed. If you take 6, it's like heroin.
Yeah.
It's like, what is this shit?
But it works. Did you take any?
Oh, I took a bunch that
It kept me up all day.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And I needed it. I was drinking only. I told the wedding people, I was like, because where we got married, they just would bring us drinks the whole time. Like, you don't have to worry about anything. This is your day. We'll bring you all the drinks, whatever. So I had my own guy just for fucking looking at my beer to see when it was empty and to bring me a drink. And they're like, what's your preference for the day? And I was like, it's going to have to be Mick Ultra today because it's going to be a long fucking day. You can't be bringing me IPAs or anything like that.
Good God. Yeah, you wouldn't fit in your suit after a couple hours. Yeah. But so acid, he's clearly been doing it. One of the things that they need to talk about, too, is...
What's that trip from L.A. to San Diego?
L.A. to San Diego on a plane?
Yeah. Well,
he
hops
30
on a
minutes
plane?
on a plane.
It's a plane.
I didn't know
really
if he had to drive.
No, he didn't drive down. He flew.
A plane ride's really short. It's like 30 minutes.
Yeah,
they're
it's
really
hop.
close to each other.
If that, maybe 15.
I think the drive on a bad day is 3 hours.
Okay, I was just making sure he wasn't driving on LSD from San Diego to LA because that'd be tight.
It would be crazier story. He didn't. He flew back. But so just to explain LSD real quick, experience wise, if you take a bunch of it, you're going to see patterns really moving around. You're going to have visual distortions where you see trees are breathing, grass is moving.
You can see the earth as it is.
But there is a mind-body connection piece that I think is very valuable to note.
Do you see the 4-dimensional elves?
This isn't DMT. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure if you take enough, if like a hero's dose of LSD, you're probably seeing some sort of
a hero dose.
Hero's dose of it.
I'm sure that many of the people the CIA gave LSD to
were taking way more than a hero's dose.
Yeah,
they were taking a subject of
a
torturous
hero
dose
for hero ball.
Yeah. Anyway, you're not. It's being able to throw something in a straight line is probably not going to be your best bet. So pitching would be hard. Although I will say studies are showing that there's definitely a mind-body connection.
Well, he walked 8 guys, right?
He walked 8 dudes. Yeah. So
which is really bad.
Well, how many did he beam? Like
he hit. I think he hit 3 guys.
So he walked 8 and hit 3. So he allowed.
He didn't get tossed.
No. It was like, okay. Let me just read through this. So. He took a hit of LSD Friday at noon, and his friend's girlfriend reminded him at 2 p.m. that he was scheduled to pitch that night. And Ellis was like, no, no, that's tomorrow. And she's like, no, it's Friday today. He's like, what happened to Thursday? And they're like, man, I don't know what to tell you, but you got to be in San Diego in a couple hours.
It'd be like that sometimes, man. It gets away from you.
Yeah. So Ellis flew from Los Angeles to San Diego at 3 p.m. and arrived at the stadium at 4:30 p.m., and the game started at 6:05. So if he took it at noon, he is halfway through the LSD trip. And, like, obviously you hit the peak, like, after the 2-hour start. You're starting to go up to the peak. So he's probably, like, peaking, tail end of peaking on LSD.
Yeah.
And if he's taking a bunch of it, like, it's going to be strong. It's going to be hard for him to focus or concentrate. So Ellis said that he threw the no-hitter despite these instances. He was not able to feel the ball. He couldn't see the batter. He couldn't really see the catcher clearly. He also said that the catcher had
blind.
Well, he said when he was looking at the plate, he couldn't make out a batter.
Yeah.
He knew that they were either on the right side or the left side. They were shapes. And the only thing
he could tell if they were right-handed or left-handed.
He could see what side of the plate they were.
Okay. That's just me playing sports before I was 16 and didn't have contacts.
Sure.
Like my vision's that bad.
But also, were the blobs moving? Were the amorphous shapes moving around?
I could only see shapes.
That's incredible that you went that long without glasses. Why did you do this to yourself?
Do you wear contacts now?
No, I wear contacts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so he made the catcher at one point wear reflective tape on his fingers, which helped Ellis see the signals because he couldn't make out the signals. You know,
so he didn't even know what pitches were being asked of him to throw.
To start, no.
Yeah.
He had to get the reflective tape on the fingers.
So how many innings did he go before he even knew what pitch he was supposed to throw?
He doesn't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just knows at some point he's like, I can't see
being
it.
the catcher for that game had to be a nightmare.
He's like, what the fuck? And also because like catchers and pitchers have a pretty close relationship.
Totally.
So that catcher too had to be like,
oh God
damn it, Doc, you son of a bitch.
Well, everyone was
kind of you're calling for like the curveball. He just throws heat.
Yeah, like he's just like sweating bullets and like his eyes are fucking dilated to fuck, and you're just like, I don't know what the fuck Doc did today, but God damn it.
It's taking 2 minutes between pitches.
Yeah.
Also, before he starts the game in warm-ups, he gets to the locker room, then leaves immediately to go find his greenie lady. So he finds
still needed the speed.
Yeah,
he was like,
how do you balance LSD out? You gotta.
Well, he's
more speed.
He's never pitched a game without speed, and he's like, well, I'm whacked out on acid, so I might as well up my dose. So he is tripping balls, and he's also speeding out.
Does that counteract? I don't know.
No.
It's compounding. The only thing that would counteract LSD would probably be like a barbiturate of. No, it'd be like people take Xanax when they're really wigging out on hallucinogens. It's kind of like a landing gear, people call it, where it's just like, oh, I need to take the plane down. Like you take some Xanax and you call it a night. Yeah. Anyway, so he's whacked out. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. So the catcher was saying, yeah, he was throwing stuff. People were having to jump out of the way of balls and stuff like that because he was just throwing it all over the place. He would throw errant pitches like 30 feet away from the mound sometimes, according to...
Yeah, that was always the most terrifying thing about Little League is when a kid could throw fast but had no control. You're just like, God damn it.
That's the thing. That's the whole thing in Bull Durham. Remember that whole bit where Kevin Costner's like hit the bull, like bean the mascot. And the guy was like, why? He's like, just fucking do it. Just hit the mascot in the head. And then he did that. And this probably happened in this game.
Yeah.
That he did that. And the rest of the game, Tim Robbins' character, Nuke Lelouch, like pitched an incredible game the rest of the time because the hitters couldn't dig in. Right?
Yeah.
They couldn't set their feet the way they wanted to.
Because they're afraid of getting beamed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So presumably that might have happened in this Doc Ellis game as well.
I feel like in my Little League career, I got beamed more than I had hits. Like I got hit by the ball than I actually made contact with a bat.
I switched to football. I never played like legit baseball, so I never worried about that.
I switched to lacrosse like 8th, 9th grade.
Yeah, that makes sense. Anyway,
my first ever at bat in kid pitch, like when we got off coach pitch or whatever. First AB ever, fucking drilled right on my ankle bone.
Oh my god!
Like I was never like it was all I could never hit well after that. Like I was just like fucking scared for years in the box. I'm a big pussy.
We're all letting it out tonight, guys. Doc Ellis is bringing it out of us. Anyway, so not only were like pitchers kind of freaked out, what Rob was alluding to as far as success of the game, but the fielding was just amazing. Like his teammates were bailing him out. His teammates helped him into the no-hitter. Like obviously he had to pitch really
well. Yeah, he had 8 walks. How many strikeouts did he have?
6.
Yeah, 6
so
strikeouts.
I got the box score up here.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
I'm trying to see how many pitches he threw, because that is what I'm also very curious.
Like
about.
250.
Yeah, like it had to be an obscene number.
So
because if you let 11 batters on base and you pitch 9 innings, that's I got to think minimum.
Where are you getting 11 from?
3 hit by pitches and 8 walks.
Oh, so the hit by pitches don't count as walks?
They're just hit by pitches.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, I figured that was...
that was in the 8, right?
Yeah,
I would have thought that too, actually. Anyway, this is actually a recount of Ellis from his point of view during the game. I can only remember bits and pieces of the game. I was psyched. I had a feeling of euphoria. I was zeroed in on the catcher's glove, but I didn't hit the glove that much. I remember hitting a couple of batters, and the bases were loaded 2 or 3 times. The ball was small sometimes. The ball was large sometimes. Sometimes I saw the catcher. Sometimes I didn't.
Oh, hold on. Can I tell you a really funny part of this?
So he had tunnel vision.
He had 3 hit by pitches, all the same guy.
Can you imagine being that guy, like, going out of the like, good God, he's throwing it to a point where it's probably going directly at spectators.
The umpire's probably like wants to toss him because he's hit the same fucking guy 3 times, but he's like, you got a perfect game going on. What can I do?
Yeah. Also, during this time too,
or not perfect game.
So
no
Ivan Murrell was the San Diego Padres center fielder. Doc Ellis hit him 3 times
on acid.
Yeah.
You just see this guy who's more than likely slicking the ball anyway with his hair products. His eyes are dilated like dinner plates, and he's just beaming you with pitches for no reason other than you exist, because he's trying his best to throw a no-hitter. Anyway, so one of the things he said too was, I tried to stare the hitter down and throw while I was looking at him. So he was like, not really. He was just looking at the pitcher as he was throwing, or not the pitcher, the batter. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're looking in that direction anyway. So
yeah, but sense. he's saying like he's like locking eyes with the batter the whole time while he's throwing it.
Starts licking his lips.
Yeah.
And by the way, these teams
tries to make it sexual.
These Pirates teams are stacked.
Yeah.
They're really good at this point. They have Roberto Clemente, Willie Stargell, like several Hall of Famers play for these Pirates teams. I think they won a World Series at some point together.
They won it the next year.
Okay.
Yeah. So another thing he said, he chewed his gum until it turned to powder. He said,
"What?
Yeah.
How?
He's just, dude. Okay, you're on speed.
What is the physics?"
He's probably been chewing that gum for 2 days on LSD.
He still thinks it's Thursday. Bear in mind, he doesn't really believe it's Friday.
Have you ever done that where you're just chewing on gum for like an entire day and it's
like miserable?
Mush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They say I had about 3 to 4 fielding chances, but I remember diving out of the way of a ball I thought was a line drive. I jumped, but the ball wasn't even hit hard enough to like reach him. Like, so he's like jumping out of the way of balls, like butts.
Yeah, it was like a squib ground ball that didn't reach the mound, and he leapt out of the way like it was a fucking cannonball.
So, all that to say, during this time too, his teammates are like, "Hey man, you're going for a no-hitter." Yeah. Like, the one rule.
You gotta leave your teammate alone.
Hey man, you're throwing a no-hitter.
It probably wasn't even his teammates probably left
insane.
him alone. He probably just had a little guy on his shoulder.
He had
probably no one.
He had to throw a no-hitter because he didn't want anyone to talk to him. He's like, "This trip's too fucking shitty, man. I just gotta."
Ellis reported afterward though that he never used LSD during the season again. So he says.
Lesson learned.
Yeah. I really learned a lesson there. I decided never to do acid on a Thursday and forget what day it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though he continued to use amphetamines every day, after the story was made public, Ellis said that he regretted taking LSD that day because it robbed him of his greatest professional memory.
When did that story go public?
I think the first story went out in 1984.
Okay,
so
because that would not have been kosher for at the time.
No.
People would have been like furious.
So I think one of the things that happened was a poet was interviewing him or something like that, and they were talking about that game.
Okay.
And one of the first things that was said was he was drunk. I was very drunk on vodka, and I had to drink coffee to straighten myself out. So like he told the story of being inebriated first, and that was the official story for a while. I was like, oh, Doc Ellis got fucked up,
Right.
and threw a no-hitter. He's amazing. They had to like tame it though, because I think he was working for the Yankees at the time, and he didn't want Steinbrenner up his ass.
Yeah.
So he was like, hey, it was acid and Dexies, but
Yeah.
Just say it's booze.
Just
and
say I was
coffee.
drunk.
Yeah, and so here's some skepticism about the story. First of all, Bob Smizik of the Pittsburgh Press, who first broke the story in 1984, believes Ellis' version of the events that day, although Smizik did not witness the game in person. Bill Christie, also of the Pittsburgh Press, does not believe the claim and was at the game that day. Christine was a beat reporter who practically lived with the team that year.
Yeah,
so
those guys like follow the team.
yeah,
around.
they were. It's like war journalists practically.
Yeah,
You're just with them constantly.
You fucking fly with the team.
Yeah.
Even like it's
more people are familiar with beat journalists than war journalists.
yeah, than war reporters.
Oh, that's true.
It's like Christiane Yamanpour in the 90s, you know? Remember her?
Fair enough. So that guy, Christine, was like, no, that's not true. I didn't notice anything different about him. But one of the things you have to consider...
Oh, well, yeah, he's nuts. So.
Yeah, like one of the things you have to consider, what is baseline normal for Doc Ellis?
Right. Yeah.
Because he's drinking and doing speed at like 14 already. So
Right.
Also, what is normal? Like, he's probably able to cope and function with a lot of substances.
Yeah.
So fuck Bill Christine for saying he didn't do it. Why take that away
So
from
also,
him?
Believe in
you were
magic.
saying earlier there's no recording of this, no
Yeah.
video.
So there's like no footage of it really.
It was on TV, but it's just not in the archives now.
It's locked in the archives. Like why would Pittsburgh release
So it
that?
is there?
People say the film exists, but they won't release it.
It was in the
What?
It was the end of Indiana Jones.
This
where
is
they
why
just wheel it.
this is why people always bitch about baseball not marketing itself well. Mm-hmm. Because if I was baseball, I would give Mike Trout LSD until he had a personality.
Why are you talking about noted Eagles fan Mike Trout?
Yeah, Mike Trout loves two things: the Eagles and weather.
Yeah.
And baseball. Does three things.
Wait, he's a baseball player?
Sometimes.
I thought he was just an Eagles fan.
Eagles fan, big
super
weather
fan,
guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the guy that comes on YouTube? He's like, the report for the game. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Is that guy?
Do you know who Mike Trout is?
I have no idea, dude.
Holy shit.
He is the best baseball player in the world right now, but
And probably
I don't watch baseball.
probably one of the 10 best baseball players of all time. If his career keeps going,
he needs to do a little bit more in the playoffs, but
I don't hold baseball players to the same postseason standards that you would in NBA or NFL.
okay.
Because you can't. It's like you can't do it by yourself in baseball.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sports.
I
did pick a baseball guy. I'm asking for
But-
this.
but
I know,
dude,
you're
it is-
being the one that did a sports topic first.
well, no, the sports is fine. He's a huge sports fan, but doing baseball,
Yeah,
like,
baseball
li-
is-
literally doesn't know who Mike
It's-
Trout is.
I got excited about the LSD part. I really keyed in on that, and I was like, I'm going to tell this story. And there's also a lot of really good, societal shit, like Black History Month stuff. So there are actually a lot of other incidents, though, too, that he dealt with after the acid thing. So
The no-hitter.
the no-hitter, right. Yeah. On May 5th, 1972, Ellis, Willie Stargell, and Stargell, sorry, and Rennie Stennett missed the team bus to Riverfront Stadium, and a security guard asked them for identification.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Doc Ellis held up his World Series ring on his fist and said, "I'm Doc Ellis," and the cop took it as or the security guard just maced him in front of the stadium.
Good Lord.
Can you imagine if fucking Marshawn Lynch got maced in front of
Right.
Yeah, it would be people would lose their fucking minds.
Listen, that might happen at Fenway these days, but nowhere else.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's a Boston racist joke.
So and then Ellis was charged with disorderly conduct
For getting maced?
for getting maced. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. That's
here-
a bad year for the Pirates. That's the year Roberto Clemente died too. Died in a plane crash taking shit to I forget, some hurricane ravaged place, I believe. I forget where.
Oh no, he was just transporting cocaine.
Oh,
Yeah.
Who's a narco?
Yeah.
So I'm not seeing what it was for, but the Reds sued Ellis for assault, and Ellis countersued before going to trial.
The Reds, who at that time were owned by the famously racist Marge Schott.
Yeah.
But they were the Big Red Machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting you mentioned that too, because the municipal court dropped the charges against Ellis, but Ellis stated that the incident made him learn to hate better, and he really fucking hated the Reds. So, like, here's some funny shit he did to the Reds.
And just for context, which I'm sure you don't know much of, let alone our listeners, the Reds and the Pirates were maybe the two best teams in the National League around that time.
So there's probably a big rivalry too.
Yeah. They were fairly. I mean, and you had like, I guess Clemente was dead at that point, but you saw like Willie Stargell, obviously, and
it's weird to think about since the Reds and the Pirates both suck.
Are both fucking garbage, right. Yeah. And then just off screen over here, you had Pete Rose
at the Reds.
And Joe Morgan on the Reds. I mean, they were two loaded ass teams back then. Yeah.
So speaking of Joe Morgan, before a game in 1973 against the Reds, I guess one thing that happened was the Pirates told him not to wear curlers in the dugout anymore because he'd wear his curlers in the dugout, and people are like, "This is just too black."
Yeah,
like don't do this.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Fine, fuck it, whatever. I won't wear my curlers."
They said that to Ellis.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Pirates said that, and so before the game though, he decides, dude. You gotta stop moving that.
I know.
Dan's a big mic guy.
You keep like moving out of the way talking into the microphone.
I know, but I'm like trying to read this stuff too. So Ellis decides like, all right, we're gonna play these Reds. Everyone's scared of the big red machine. I'm going to hit every at bat I can.
That's awesome.
He goes through 8 guys.
He hit 8 batters.
He hit 8 batters
in a row.
I believe it's in a row. Let me double check.
A bit counterproductive.
I don't know how you don't get tossed after like 6.
3.
Yeah.
Because it is not easy.
Oh, that was in 1974 that he did that.
Okay.
I skipped around.
It is not easy to make it look like an accident.
It's if you hit 8 batters in a row, it does not ever look like an accident.
Right, but even 2 in a row, it's not easy to make that look like an accident.
No.
Oh, it's just wild.
Yeah, yeah.
A different time though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Different time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So after Ellis
Our athletes
defeated,
were more hardcore back then.
kind of weird.
This was about
soft.
the time that batting gloves started to get used. Batting gloves didn't get used for a long time.
I like guys that don't use batting gloves.
What's the point? Like just for not tearing your hand apart?
And just grip.
Yeah.
Man.
So after
You look cool.
After Ellis defeated the Reds in a 1973 game, this is where the curlers comes in, Dan. Joe Morgan claimed that Ellis was throwing a spitball, and Anderson had the umpire like check Ellis.
Investigate.
But they found no evidence. But in a 1980 book, when a book came out in 1980, Ellis actually admitted, he's like, yeah, I used to just take the stuff off my hair and use it to throw spitballs. So it was actually confirmed. He admitted to that.
Which is the type of cheating I love. Again, I love that. I fucking
Just very coy.
just like dirty, easy cheating like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, steroids.
So
Super easy.
in 1974 is when he decides to hit everyone at bat. But he was a little concerned about how Pete Rose would feel about it because he loved Pete Rose.
Weird.
Yeah, but he's like, he admired Pete Rose. He was concerned how he would respond to it. But Ellis, in the moment, decided to do it anyway. He just went for it. While pitching for Oakland, the team asked him to keep.
I mean, dude, Rose was kind of a hard ass. Like, who is remember in an
The All-Star game?
Yeah,
Where
he ruined a
trucked
catcher's career.
Catcher. Yeah.
What did he do?
He there was a play at the plate in the All-Star game, so it didn't even matter.
Did he level it?
Yeah,
level
yes,
the catcher?
leveled
This was
the catcher at the
before
plate.
The All-Star game counted towards like who had home field advantage for the World Series.
Which it doesn't anymore again. But yeah,
Oh,
but
it doesn't. Huh.
There was like 20 years or something.
yeah, something like that. But yeah, Pete Rose ended this dude's career.
He trucks him at the plate.
Injured him so bad
Jesus.
that his career was over.
That sucks.
Yeah, so Pete Rose would fuck you up, is what I'm trying to say. Like,
Before Buster Posey,
yeah.
this was the biggest catcher collapse.
Yep. Who
Or
does that?
collision.
Another thing he did while pitching for Oakland, the team asked him to keep charts, I guess in the dugout or in the bullpen or whatever, and he said, "Fuck that!" And when they turned around to leave, he lit the charts on fire.
Tight.
In the dugout, and he's like, "That's the craziest thing I ever did in my career." It's like, no, Doc. I think it was the acid game, but let's see here.
Why do you like the charts on fire? Just
Because he didn't want to do it. He was just like, "I'm not keeping charts." Like, fuck that.
he's
Here's
not
a-
an analytics guy.
I'm here to throw
not
heat.
not a big analytics guy.
Here's a fun thing I just found.
Modern baseball fans would hate him.
Oh, yeah, no, completely. A fun headline I found about Pete Rose. Ray Fosse, that was the catcher. Ray Fosse still feels effects from collision with Pete Rose in 1970 All-Star game.
Can we just make that a like being Fossied, being a anytime somebody gets truck sticked.
Yeah,
just being Fossied.
Fossied. But Rose made it like a cheap shot too. I just watched the video. He like went specifically after his arm.
Oh my god, that's awful.
Yeah, so P Rose will fuck you up.
Yeah, totally.
It's probably not the worst thing.
So do you think he respected the move by?
Maybe, yeah. It's
like,
a 50-50 proposition. Yeah, like.
The last thing of note, just like the ridiculous shit he did, Doc Ellis, when he was at the Rangers, he complained about the manager, Billy Hunter's liquor policy. And Hunter was responding, like banning liquor basically from team flights because there was a big fight. So Ellis was like, I'm bringing liquor on the plane to Toronto no matter what. So he brings a bunch of liquor on the plane. It said that Ellis led a player insurrection against Billy Hunter. And he declared that Hunter may be Hitler, but he ain't making no lampshade out of me. This is like public comments about like team management for the team you're in. And then
I love this man so fucking
So the
much.
Rangers organization initially blamed Ellis for the team's disappointing finish in 1978 when this happened and indicated that they would trade Ellis, but later the owner, Brad Corbett, sided with Ellis over Hunter and fired that manager.
Tight.
So Ellis stayed around. He's like, no, fuck it, I'm drinking on the plane. That guy sucks. He's racist. You got him fired. But all these stories are really funny. And, you know, they're kind of crazy. It's kind of sad, though, that a lot of people talk about Doc Ellis as just this one-dimensional, like he's the guy that threw no-hitter on acid because he had a really crippling addiction problem. I mean, he never really checked into rehab. He was self-medicating, and that was all from a societal...
Alcoholism or...
Everything.
Yeah,
just every... alcoholism, for sure, I think is, like, for a lot of these guys, the underlying, like, medicine. But it's just, you have to self-medicate to plan your mood out. You know what I mean?
I bet he had a few sexcapades.
By the way, it's worth noting that 10% of all of his walks in 1970 were from his no-hitter.
Jeez.
10% of his walks that season.
10% of his walks were on acid.
Yeah.
And he threw
He started 30 games.
That's insane.
He had 87 walks. And
kind of checks out, though.
8%...
Like
or 8 of them were that game, so about 10%.
You're
a little
probably
under 10%.
on acid. Like,
yeah,
it would be weird if he didn't. Like, the majority of his walks weren't in one game on acid.
I agree with that.
So Doc Ellis was kind of this figure that, for the most part, you know, a lot of black athletes that were very good at what they did, that talked or had any sort of dissent from the normal status quo, were labeled bad people, and a lot of people would call Doc Ellis a bad person, especially regarding drug use and stuff like that. Like, he's a tyrant, or not a tyrant, but, you know, what do you want to call it? Degenerate, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's just a loudmouth. He's a degenerate. There's a lot of good things that Doc Ellis did, too, after he stopped.
He was just sounds like a human being.
Yeah, totally. And I think, you know, it's kind of, I want to bring to light some of that stuff. Like, for one, he helped his teammate, Willie Stargell, like you were saying. He helped him get the word out for sickle cell as part of the Black Athlete Foundation. He even talked on the Senate floor to the Senate about this, too. And he helped kids in need as well. He started a lot of different programs for kids to keep them out of trouble, you know, because he didn't have that in LA growing up. So he relied on drugs and alcohol to get him through a lot of stuff. You know, someone was saying, too, that, like, these days, like, the stuff he was doing, they'd be like, oh, he's an activist now. But, like, back then, it's like, you're just a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Shut up. Yeah. Swing your bat.
Shut up and pitch.
He was on the mound in 1971 when the Pittsburgh Pirates became the very first MLB team to field an all-black starting lineup. That's also the year they won the World Series, turns out.
Yeah, I believe that was the We Are Family Pirates. Like, their theme song that year was We Are Family.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a banger.
That was a really... in terms of baseball history,
they have
a fun team. Like, people...
And
yeah, well, not any sisters, I guess, but yeah, no, that team is like widely remembered as being like really like fun and infectious.
For sure, you got a guy that does acid.
Yeah, exactly.
They're a lot of fun, man.
Yeah,
yeah. He was also during that year. He's like, I guess, was it Vita Blue or Vita Blue?
Vita Blue.
Vita Blue was the Oakland Athletics pitcher that year, and he was the pitcher for the American League All-Star Game. And Doc Ellis is like, well, I'm not going to be picked because they're never going to let two black guys pitch. Like, and, of course, so, like, that kind of forced the hand where it's like, okay, Doc Ellis, you're going to pitch now.
Well, so it should be noted that with the baseball All-Star game. So the starters are all picked by the fan vote except the pitcher.
Oh, really?
So the fans pick the starting 8, like catcher, center field, all that shit, and then the pitchers don't even get voted in. The manager picks the pitchers.
Yeah, and typically if like my team's manager is the all-star coach, I want our biggest rival on the mound, and I want him ran into the fucking ground.
Right.
Like
yes.
I want, if it's like when Manuel would coach the all-star game or whatever, I would want a Mets pitcher on the mound.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just for like, no. He can go 7.
Yeah. Throw him 7.
All-star game.
Just let him wear out. Yeah. Makes sense.
Watch him warm up real close for the couple days of the
Right. Actually, so when he said that about not being able to play, and they made him play, or elected him to be the pitcher, Jackie Robinson actually wrote to him and said, "I read your comments in our paper the last few days. I wanted to let you know how much I appreciated your courage and honesty," which is, I mean, that's a huge moment for Jackie Robinson to reach out to Doc Ellis and be like, "You're doing good things for baseball." He also said, "You need to say a little less, though." Like maybe tone it down a little bit.
That's funny. That doesn't surprise me. The reason they picked Jackie Robinson as the first one, like he wasn't necessarily he was a top 5 black baseball player at that time, but he wasn't necessarily the absolute best. But they knew they needed to pick someone who was gonna keep it clean,
clean cut.
Yeah. So that's why Robinson,
like family friendly.
That makes sense.
Yes,
very digestible.
Yeah, exactly.
Palatable.
Palatable. Yeah. So that makes sense that Robinson would say something like that because it's very of his personality.
Yeah,
Robinson actually wrote an article one time. I forget what paper it was in, or maybe it was published in a bunch of papers, but he wrote an article politely disagreeing with Martin Luther King Jr. on his stance on the Vietnam War, because Robinson was pro.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Vietnam War. Or like pro to an extent, like saying just like, like the Viet Cong are bad, communism is bad.
Right, yeah. No, I'm sure like the domino theory and stuff.
Yeah. He was like, don't let this disagreement fool you or anything. No, I think Martin Luther King is the shit.
Right,
but like he was like, I love him and he's the best leader the black community could have. But
he didn't wholesale buy into someone else's politics.
Yeah, he had like his own nuanced opinions.
Sure,
also a human being, from what I recall.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So the other things that were really big for Ellis, as far as baseball activism goes, he was like a huge advocate for free agency as well, because he was tired of people getting locked into dog shit contracts.
Yes. So baseball players. Curt Flood was the first one to actually do the free agency stuff, and he had his career ruined over it. But yeah, baseball players, they were still getting rich, but they were also getting like still fucked by ownership. There's like free agency is what basically was invented in like the 60s or 70s, essentially.
Right, but I think like it was pretty frowned upon too, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, for most sports too. It's just like it was a very slow release of free agency. Like not everyone was doing it immediately.
Well, Curt Flood, who is also black, by the way.
Interesting.
Was the guy who pioneered. He was a St. Louis Cardinal, but he was the guy who like pioneered free agency essentially.
Yeah, I mean, so he did a lot of stuff like that. Like, okay, so he's.
Do you think the Cardinals hang that banner?
No, there is no Curt Flood number up on the. No,
I was just going to say they were going to take credit for that championship. Free agency.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know baseball stuff, dude. Anyway, he did a lot for baseball, obviously. He did a lot for sickle cell activism. He did a lot for young people in his community. Yeah. He also stopped being involved with baseball, I want to say, after he checked out of rehab. He went to school for becoming a substance abuse counselor at UC Irvine. And he was doing, obviously, counseling for people in Beverly Hills for a long time. And then someone asked him, like, hey, why aren't you doing this for people in your community? He's like, you're absolutely right. He started a program where he would go into prisons and actually help people that were recovering from addiction. And there's a lot of people that to this day were like, I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for Doc Ellis. And he's helping people that probably need it more, like that probably need that rehabilitation more than jail time's going to help them, right?
So he passed recently, like what year?
2009.
It was that long ago?
Yeah.
Really? Let me see. Fuck, because that 30 for 30 short documentary came out.
He did stuff. This story regained virility on the internet or whatever while he was still alive.
Yeah,
it was like 05, 06.
It was right when viral videos and stuff were getting big.
Yeah, because it's like a funny cartoon. I remember reading about it like on Deadspin.
Yeah, I think the video I sent y'all came out in like 2004. It was 2009.
Yeah.
So well, that video was posted at least in 2009.
He died in 2008.
December 19th, 2008.
But this went viral. Maybe it was around that time, but it went viral. Like I remember it being in college and it like kind of blowing up the internet for a day or two.
Oh, for sure. Like when people were like, "What this guy?"
Yeah,
it was like one of those things. Where like,
and actually, there was a Deadspin writer who eventually lost his job because he was part of the Hulk Hogan thing. Mm-hmm. He was like the main guy who put, but he tried to do pitch. He took acid and tried to pitch a no hitter on
MLB The Show or whatever. Yeah, I sent you a Deadspin link, and then I clicked. That link was recommended for me afterwards. Yeah. That was one of the funniest, like, dumb things I've ever read, though.
Yeah.
Like, he couldn't do it.
No. He couldn't throw a video game
no-hitter on acid. Yeah. That was pretty funny. Because he's like, I can't control all the players. That's one thing, too, that gets kind of lost in the sauce is, like, he had amazing teammates.
Yeah. So I don't...
That bailed him out.
Did you ever find the stat, like, how many balls were hit in play? Well, he only had 6 strikeouts, which means the other...
21 outs.
Yeah, were recorded by his teammates.
Yeah, I mean, I could have pulled like verbatim the stuff that would have been interesting to you. Yeah, I just don't have it.
It's fine.
Yeah. No, maybe Dan can do a follow-up episode and talk baseball. Yeah. But anyway, no, I just think it's interesting that like all people know about this guy is he was the acid guy for the no-hitter. But really, he had other crazy stuff happen to him in his career.
And just that Pirates team.
Yeah, the Pirates team is amazing.
One of the probably best.
The first time a baseball team is fielded with all black starters and they win the World Series.
Coincidence?
Maybe, I don't know. But also he had to deal with a lot of oppression in other ways. He definitely didn't go out of his way to stay out of it though either. Like he was being himself the whole time
had a
through.
Personality.
Yeah. And I think that's something that's meritorious, and also being able to help your community after the fact and realizing that, like, I mean, it's kind of a shame that the thing that he was trying to help other people get over was the thing that killed him, was liver cirrhosis. Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of a sad story, but it's also a redeeming one, too. He definitely changed his life for the better and helped a lot of people.
Sad that he died relatively young.
Yeah, 63.
63's.
It's super young.
Yeah. But what a legacy.
Yeah, no, I mean, great story. I loved reading about this dude. Yeah. I'm happy I got to. So.
I was surprised you picked that because you're not a baseball guy.
No,
but you are an LSD guy.
I got lured in with the acid.
Yeah.
Man, they would have had a field day. The CIA would have had a field day with me.
You went back to back with your topics with LSD.
Yeah, I'll clean
it up. Let's just have an episode where we see what we can get Jake into if acid is the gateway.
Yeah.
We're just like 2 guys fuck on acid.
Do I have to do acid to...
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We'll do an episode where you do acid.
Yeah.
And try to lead... The podcast on acid.
So you need to block off about 12 to 15 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
And we'll just do it a live stream day.
All right. If he can throw a no-hitter, you can throw, an hour and a half podcast on LSD.
Yeah, that's true. You should try to get me to do tasks.
Yeah, we can do that.
I would be fine with. Do you remember, this is for anyone that ever listened to us before the show, but do you remember, were you there when we did the BAC reader?
I wasn't on that. That was Boosh.
Oh, Rob, were you in that one?
Yeah, I was there inside TFM.
I was there, but I wasn't.
Yeah, where we just tried to see how high we could get our BAC over the course of 2 hours or an hour or whatever.
Yeah, the one that ended with Boosh at like 0.38, bashing his head into a conference room table.
Yes.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I miss those things. We should do one of those again.
Yeah, maybe. We'll get Boosh back.
Yeah, we should bring Boosh back on for sure.
Back,
yeah.
Just to tell us Thailand stories. Anyway.
No, he should bury those stories deep in the ground.
He's in a serious relationship now. He doesn't need to tell those Thailand stories.
Fuck the serious relationship. He needs to never speak of his trip to Thailand.
I can't believe he told all of us that on tape.
Because he's oblivious and he doesn't
understand the implications of some of the things he was doing.
He's just a puppy.
Whatever. That was the best podcast we ever did.
It was fantastic. It was a guy that didn't realize what sex tourism was, describing his sex tourism trip. It was amazing. Like, so good.
Kind of.
I mean,
we had to just be like,
dude, do you
understand
what you just said on there? Yeah.
Do you understand what happened? And no, he didn't.
It wasn't.
He had no idea.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Anyway, what did you guys take anything away from this? Did you enjoy it?
I just think we should probably move away from sports for the rest of the month.
Okay. Sorry to ruin that for you.
More than just black athletes. they've
Wow.
contributed in other ways in society.
Peanut butter, right? Like you
Peanut
said.
butter, just peanut butter.
It's peanut butter and acid.
It's so fucked up that people think George Washington Carver invented peanut butter, but that's such a common thing.
But
like,
he didn't do it.
You know, he just found
Maybe
uses
we
for
should
I
peanut
can't
butter.
believe-
on.
George Washington Carver is actually not a bad one, dude. He's got some
That's
interesting
just
shit.
so fucking like.
It's
of course
very
the three
it's-
white dudes went to.
George Washington Carver.
Like, but I don't know. What are you supposed to? Oh my God! I can't believe George Washington Carver is the only thing people get wrong in history.
You know who people love? Barack
Like,
Obama. We should do Barack Obama.
What? How he was from Hawaii and used to smoke weed and do coke.
No, there's nothing.
And is fun. Like just a guy.
That's the thing. Like, there's a lot of cool people out there, but it's hard to find
All right,
these.
so yeah,
one-off-
Rob has his topic next week. And
Yeah.
I'll close out. And
Who are you doing?
I think I was just gonna do slavery.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Just
I think it's about time we wrap.
Yeah, all right. That's it for tonight.
I'll find something good.
Okay, cool. For Rob Fox and Dan Regester, I've been Jake Goldman.
And you just got soft served.
Thanks.
Shouts to Xander.